Hi, welcome to Yellow Dot Artist. I'm Nancy Murphy and I'm an acrylic painter. Today I'm going to take you through the steps on how to do a field of grass, whether that's your yard or out in the open in a park. I'm going to take you through the steps. So I was working on this painting and that's when I got the idea because it's a big lawn and I thought, oh my gosh, how do I do the grass? I had to think about it. And I thought, if I've been painting for a while and had to think about it, I'm sure other people might also wonder. Before you paint, you want to tone the canvas. And you see some other colors on here, but ignore those for a minute. Right now I'm mixing, it's a burnt umber with a little bit of water. You mix it really well so the chunks are gone. You might notice that my water looks a little green. I'm just using the brush jar that I use to clean my brushes. It doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't drastically change the color. But here I'm just adding the very thin layer of paint. It helps to hide the canvas underneath so the white doesn't poke through and so that you get a nice overall finish. And it's a little wet and I want to move on with the video, so I'm just kind of rubbing it off. You want to use a mid-tone. So what that means is instead of a light tone or a dark tone, use a mid-tone. Okay, I have all the colors of paint right here, and I'm going to start mixing some for the first layer of the grass. So here I use the ultramarine blue and the viridian. You can use black if you want to make it a darker color, but I don't care to use black unless I really need to. I just think when you mix in other colors, it just gives it a nicer color. And here I'm using the burnt orange with the, let's see what that is, the hooker's green. So basically what you want to do is have about 3 or 4 variations of green from dark to light. In this example, I'm using more than that. You can use more if you want as well. And here I'm doing a medium green and a light green. Okay, now we move on to which brushes work best. These are just kind of really tough brushes, and you see the bristles are just kind of jagged and messed up. It's one of my favorite brushes. As you can see, I've just worn it thin. So those are okay. But this one I picked up for just about $1 about a week ago and love it. And here are some more, just kind of scraggly. You don't want the brushes really, or the bristles really close or tight, because for grass strokes you need something loose like these. So this is my choice. I'm going to use this to make the grass. Okay, this looks really ugly right now, but it's necessary. At first what I do is I draw just kind of long lines and smooth them together a little bit. I use the dark, I use the light, I use the medium, just the different shades. What you want to do is just get something that looks irregular because you're going to be painting over this. But don't be discouraged at this point. We're getting close to this layer being done, and I had to step away for a little bit because it wasn't drying. It was just kind of smearing together. So you might have to step away from yours too because the paint gets very thick. And don't make it a solid color. You want it broken. So here it is after it dried. I'm going to use my favorite new little grass brush. And I dipped it into the mid-shade green, and you just want to kind of dab and dab and dab. If you look at grass, you see it's very irregular. So I'm smearing that on the back because you want the perspective to be right. You want to see the blades of grass, the larger blades of grass in the front, and in the far distant, you can't see the individual details, so you just kind of smear it out. And although you're using the same colors, as you dab it, like I do here, you can see that color over the brown. Here I have a little lighter color. And right there, it's a little too clumped together. So after it dries a little bit, I'm going to go back over it with the other colors to break it up, to help it look like grass. And grass is very irregular, so just kind of dab your brush, kind of pull it up or pull it down or to the side a little bit, just to get those nice little strokes. And I'm only going to paint the grass on the right-hand side so that you can compare what the underpainting looks like compared to the top layers. Again, that got a little too thick with the paint, so I just kind of smeared it out and I'm painting over it. And as you see, you can see some of the brown shining through. You can see the lighter green coming through, the darker greens. And if you ever look at a field of grass, it's very irregular. It's not like a mowed grass. If it was a mowed grass, you'd be more careful in making it more consistently the right height. But as you can see, the field of grass is coming through nicely, and it's really hiding that ugly underlayer. Now, an important thing to do is when you're putting, if you notice my paint right there, I kind of pulled a little forward away from the pile and just kind of smeared it because I want to keep the brush very light. I don't want globs of paint, because when you do that, you get globs of paint on the canvas, and this is not the place for that. See how I just tap that? And you can do the same. And again, if you make any mess ups, just kind of smear it out and tap it over with a different color green. And I'm just putting that color in sporadically, just to give it a little interest. And we're just about done. Yeah, just dab it until you think it looks finished. But look at that. Look at the right compared to the left-hand side. That's how easy it is to make grass. I'm just going through and covering up any things that I don't quite like or that needs a little more variety. So you see I'm switching shades as I go through the different areas. At this point, if you wanted to add flowers, you could, and it would be a very pretty grassy field with flowers. Now I'm adding the highest, the brightest color right now, the lightest, just, randomly throughout. If you look at a field, not everything has the brightest light on it, just some of it. And if you use your hand to cover up the left side, you can see what the grass looks like. Here's a photo of the grass up close, and looking at that, I can see some areas I need to go back with the brush and correct. That's the thing that's nice about painting. You can always make changes. Well, anyway, stay tuned for upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and check out my website, www.yellow.artist.